Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. Alvin, if you'd call the roll, please.
Yes, Commissioner Collins,
Here.
Commissioner Martinez,
Here.
Commissioner Alminas. Commissioner Alminas looks like he is absent. Commissioner Miller,
Here.
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Ryan. Here's Commissioner Ryan is absent.
Okay, so the first item is notice of intent for property known at 1478 Parker. Is that one continued or is that one ready?
That one's to be continued.
Okay. And it looks like, okay, the next one is also Sumner Avenue is continued, right?
That's correct. 299 Summer Ave is to be continued.
Uh,
I do see someone on the call.
I think that's Francis, isn't it?
The audio is connecting, so I'll give him just a few seconds here.
I think that looks like that's who it is.
Mr. Ryan, is that you on the, Mr. Ryan, can you hear me? All right, you're not muted, so, Mr. Ryan, can you hear me?
Doesn't appear he's muted. It doesn't.
Yeah,
He's trying to connect to audio, so he probably can't.
okay. Mr. Ryan, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay, there he is. Okay,
Acknowledge Mr. Frank Ryan for the record.
as being present. Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to order of condition for Elaine Circle, which is file number 6927. It was distributed to the commissioners, and the commissioners get a chance to review it.
Mhm. It was
Yeah.
sent out.
Right.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions on it's a pretty standard order. There's a couple of things on there, but it was all spelled out pretty well. If there aren't any questions, someone's going to have to help me with my memory. Did we close the public hearing on that one?
The public hearing was closed.
It was closed. Okay. Then a motion to issue the order of conditions as distributed, as read, is in order at this point. Someone want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for Elaine Circle.
Is there a second?
Second,
Was that Clarence?
Frank, yeah.
Oh, Fred. Okay. That's weird because you show that you're muted, Fred, but yet your voice is coming through. That's interesting. Okay, so Alvin, if you'd call the roll.
I'm sorry, Chris. It was actually Ryan. I was muted.
Oh, okay. All right. It was Frank. Okay.
Oh, Frank, I'm sorry.
All right. So Alvin, if you'd call the roll.
Yes, okay, so for on the order of conditions, Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan.
Yes,
More than a sufficient number. It's so ordered. They will make out you'll put a signature page out at the front window,
That's-
Alvin, for us to stop by and sign.
Yes,
Okay. So when you get a chance, folks, if you could stop by and sign that. The other item that's on there is the resource manager. I know Phil was going to try to have a discussion about two things, about temporarily seeing if he could do it contractually. And then
Yeah,
talk
so-
about, go ahead. Do you have an update?
It was a couple things. Either we're going to try to up the salary or try to make it a part-time position. And if we make it a part-time position and put it out as an RFP, then we'd be able to attract folks who may live outside of the city. As that could also be a potential issue in attracting folks.
Yeah, because we had one during the last round, we had one who is currently working in a similar role in
The town of Ware.
town of Ware. I thought, okay,
Right.
it's trying to remember whether it was Belchertown or Ware. But the turning point for him was moving to the city of Springfield.
So
'Cause
how
he's-
many hours do they have to work that they do? Can they work like 40 hours and not be a city resident?
I think they can, if they work anything below 48. Anything below 38, so hours.
Oh, okay.
Because I think Alvin, isn't the typical city worker like 37.5?
Yeah, I think at least like 37.5.
So if it's below that, if it's like 35 hours or 34 hours,
Okay.
it would be considered part-time.
I just spent some time kind of, just before we got on, looking at different towns to see if, like Worcester, it's comparable town, a city. But they didn't show a resource person. I remember when Kevin was here, on the city's website, it had him down as the resource person, but they didn't have anything. It was just through planning. I looked at Lowell as well. Again, I didn't see any. It must be through the planning department that they have somebody, but not.
A lot of places it is through the planning. West Springfield has one, which is, they're significantly smaller than us. And I don't think he's through planning. I think he's standalone and is paid quite a bit more than we are.
And that's
Um,
full-time?
And that's a full-time staff person for West Springfield, yeah.
And how much more does he get paid, Or she, whatever?
About something like 16,000 or 17,000 more.
And they won't go for that in Springfield, right?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know whether, I think that's a discussion that Phil said he's gonna have to see whether we can
Yeah.
raise that salary up, because we're not getting anybody looking to come for it. So those two options can be explored to see whether we can either do it through an RFP for services and it not be a full-time employee, it be a contractor, basically.
yeah,
Or you do it as a part-time employee. So you could do
Yeah.
it two ways. So the person could be an independent contractor, or it could be a part-time employee. And either way, I think we might attract somebody, hopefully.
yeah. Well, hopefully.
But I think it'll have to be a combination of both. I think the salary, and I actually sat in and talked to, and went and met with the one in West Springfield. And he said he knows 2 or 3 people who do similar work. Even some people who work for the town of West Springfield do it part-time for other cities. But they're making, so they would never leave what they're doing in the town of Agawam or town of West Springfield, for example. And they're not at his level, they're below his, because they
Yeah.
would be taking a $10,000 pay cut.
Yeah, yeah.
So, they're not going to do that. So it
Mhm.
appears where our salary range is probably not where it needs to be.
Yeah, well, maybe it could be fixed. Yeah,
So Phil was going to discuss that. I know, right, Al?
okay,
Yeah, so that's where we are. And again, Phil will have discussions with our chief development officer and probably other folks to see what would be, I guess, what their direction would be with the position.
Good. We've been lucky in that most of the stuff that's been filed, and we haven't had a ton filed, and most of it's been pretty routine, where we
Yeah.
didn't need, like Kevin you get some wetlands, some projects submitted that the wetland border really could be in contention, and you really need somebody who knows how to go out and walk a wetland boundary and make sure it's correct. And if we, that could become, the builders may realize that too, if we don't get a staff person in and realize that they may not have to be as careful when they draw their wetland borders as necessary, you know?
Mhm.
So having somebody doing it that does have qualification is an important thing.
Yeah. You know, this is on a different note, but can be connected because we don't have a staff person, is that I was in the park the other day, Forest Park, and you know where the Coosac goes down and then it turns around the aquatic gardens? Remember that eroded area? The sidewalk was about ready to fall in. And I think people from, I think it was GCA, they were looking at it. And then it became such a big cost that it was put on the back burner. But it continues to erode, and it looks like somebody dumped a pile of small stones. And I don't remember that coming before us. And of course, what's happening is the stones are going right into with the heavy rains, right into the river, the Pecoosac at that point. You know where I'm talking about?
You're talking about after it goes down the falls and
Falls, and then it makes the turn, and then it starts to go behind the garden, and that
right,
whole
it
area
goes on
where
the other side of the road that circles the gardens.
right, the macadam was falling in. So it looks like somebody cut evened off the macadam and filled it with rocks, small rocks.
Right.
But I don't remember them do you remember anybody coming before us? I don't.
Well, they have a maintenance order, but I don't remember them calling. I don't know. Alvin, do you know that the park called to do any maintenance work over there or not?
I have not received any information in regards to
I
that.
mean, that's a perfect case that what I was just talking about. When they know you
Exactly,
don't have a
that's why.
staff person, and the park knows they have a maintenance order, and there's certain work they can do, but they have to do it correctly. And they would have to come forward and say, here's what we want to do
Yeah,
under the order.
yeah, and if there was an emergency, at least make a phone call.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do need to try to get this back on track about getting a new staff person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll check
Frank,
with
welcome, by the way.
that. I'm sorry.
Pardon?
Frank?
No.
No, Frank, I said welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I know you had a bit of difficulty with zooming in and then some trouble getting yourself sworn in, I guess. So new
All
year,
good.
let's hope things are smoother.
I've printed everything and I've been following it and learning. Thank you.
Do you have any questions, Frank, that you at this point? If something comes to mind and you can call me, you can call me. I'll give you my cell phone just in case you have a question if you'd like.
Okay, go ahead.
It's 413
Yeah.
221 6002.
Thank you, Phil.
So if you give me a call, if you've got questions, I'll be glad to do what I can to help you. Okay?
Yeah.
Is there anything, there's nothing else on the agenda. Is there
No.
any commissioners have anything else? Then a
No.
motion to adjourn would be in order.
That's a good one, a 14-minute meeting.
I'll make
Thank you,
a
Alvin.
motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll
That was
second
Clarence,
it.
right? Thank you.
Yep, that was Clarence.
Is there a second?
I seconded it. I thought I.
Okay, there we go. Okay, Alvin, if you'd call the roll, since we're following Zoom rules.
Yes, Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, everyone.
No, is that a yes?
You're welcome.
He nodded his head yes, so I'm assuming that was a yes vote.
All right, we'll go with the yes. All right, Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.